Hi guys, today's video is going to be something that's a little bit more serious. This is one of the children that need to be saved. Her name is Sophie. She is 9 years old. She is from Texas. If you have not seen anything about Stand With Sophie, there's a hashtag going around. I would interest you into watching that if it is not a trigger for you. So this is a trigger warning. If you are someone who can't watch anything about sexual abuse or abuse at all, do not watch that video. Do not, I wouldn't watch my video, but this is real, this is happening, and this is one of the kids that we do need to save. So what has happened is, in the video you will see on the GoFundMe page that I'll link below, is Sophie throwing an absolute fit that she does not want to go home with her mom. And the grandmother is trying to figure out, why Sophie doesn't want to go home. But the entire time, they're literally trying to yank Sophie out of the car. At one point, the grandmother's literally dragging Sophie by her feet. Finally, Sophie kind of gets up into the middle console of the front seat and tries to explain to her grandma, when her mother walks away to go talk to the cops, why she doesn't want to go home with mom. She tells her grandma that Mr. Jake, which is mom's boyfriend, touches her VV, is what she calls it. Grandma doesn't really believe it. Grandma actually says, which was quite disgusting, that if she felt that bad about herself, she couldn't have gotten the lead in the school play or done gymnastics, which makes no sense whatsoever. Sophie also talks about how she's tired of waking up and having blood in her underwear. So it's a very serious situation, and unfortunately, Sophie had to go back to her mother because CPS forced her to go back with her mother. The last time, and this is the only recent update was 6 hours ago that we've seen, no one has actually seen Sophie and her brothers since August 25th. Rumors that they were safe are false. They have not seen her. Last time they saw her was at the Frisco Police Department when they swapped, when Sophie had to go with her mother. Sophie also said that mommy, even though if Mr. Jake doesn't come over, Mr. Jake's family comes over and does the same things to her. So you have to watch the video. It is honestly sickening. I was crying because the CPS worker, and that made me more mad than anything, didn't care. She was like, no, Sophie, you can go with your mother, and you're going with your mother. And the whole point of CPS is to protect our children. But it's like they are just a case number and a box check. And so that they don't have to do all this paperwork saying that, mom's not fit. The kids should not be there. They should be with the dad. They don't want to do it, and it's sad. It's gross. The number that everyone is telling people to call, and I will put the number in the video, is 972-292-6010. It's the Frisco Tx CPS number. When you're calling, say we want justice for Sophie, and the whole internet is watching. The judge tried to put a gag order on the hashtag Stand With Sophie, but it can only, because she can't technically do it on the whole world, it can only be the father, the mother, the grandmother. So I'm, in my head, I watched the Netflix original series about Gabriel, the little boy who was abused by his mother and her boyfriend, and there's a lot of similarities, not with the sexual abuse part, but the CPS not getting involved, the father or grandparents on the father's side trying to say like he shouldn't be with them. I mean, there's a whole, it's like a whole circle is just going all over again, and we're gonna see that same thing. And I just don't want what happened to Gabriel to happen to Sophie, or her brothers for that matter. I want, and so many other people want, to protect her and get her out of that situation before something bad does happen. We do not want the worst case scenario to happen. We don't want her to die. And that is why we're doing everything possible to get her out of her mother's care. There is a Facebook page. It is private, but it is a page where all the updates are kind of flowing through. They tell you like what's really going on, what's true, what's fiction. Like that was the page I found out that it has not been confirmed that she's actually safe with an aunt or somewhere else other than in her mother's care. We have no idea that that was false. We don't know that. All we know is that we haven't seen her since August 25th when she had to leave her father because the CPS worker that said if she wouldn't, they were going to arrest the dad. And that whole segment is also in the video on the GoFundMe page. We need to stand with Sophie. We need to help her. We need to do everything we can for her. So call every day and that CPS number. If you want, call Frisco Police because they're not happy either that we're calling. They know that we're watching and it's kind of pissing them off. But hopefully it pisses them off enough to actually do something. Because they keep giving everybody the ring around the rosy. Both police, because there's two different districts. Mom lives in one district, dad lives in a different one, and they're playing phone tag with people. Like, no, you need to call this office. No, you need to call this office. And people, as in us, are getting irritated because we're not getting the answers that we want. We want Sophie out of her house. First of all, the cop, when she told them, should have taken her to the hospital. Second, I mean, a rape kit should have been done. Things should have been figured out. She should have went to a doctor as soon as she said that night that she was being molested by Mr. Jake. And none of that happened. She wasn't taken to the hospital. Mom, of course, got cops involved, CPS involved, her lawyer involved. I know on one of the TikTok videos, because TikTok is very huge in this right now, it is all over TikTok, so if you are a TikTok user, follow those as well, those pages. But I was also told, or I saw, that the judge is actually best friends with the lawyer or the CPS worker, one of the two, which that can't happen. That is illegal. Yeah, and they were doing a Zoom call, and it was just everybody could watch, and that was when the judge tried to put a gag order on Stand With Sophie because she wanted everything off the internet, which of course she does, because then she doesn't have to do anything about it. But we're gonna make her do something about it. I am begging people, and that's why I decided yesterday that instead of doing a Q&A or a video about my ghost stuff, this is more important than anything. I will give updates on what happens, on what I see, but Stand With Sophie is so important because we need to save our children. Mothers and fathers who abuse their children need to be held accountable. CPS workers who don't want to do their job need to be held accountable. Sophie should have been taken from her mother that day. They should have had an investigation that day. She should have stayed with her father until the investigation was over, not handed to the person she's saying where the abuse is happening. It was done wrong, in my opinion. And this is a tough subject to talk about because nobody in their right mind wants to see a child hurt or crying the way Sophie was crying on that video and screaming. She was screaming bloody murder. Bloody murder. Should she